Hi, my name is Marisa Douglas. I am the Peer Support Specialist here at Atlantic Center for Independent Living, and this is the first in a series of videos that I will be calling my College Survival Guide. A little bit about myself. I attended Stockton University. I graduated in May of 2017 with my Bachelor's of Art in Psychology, and I am currently attending Rutgers University to pursue my Master's of Social Work. So I have a lot of experience with college and, going to college with a disability. And I kind of wanted to make this guide to help other people with disabilities who are currently in college or are going to college soon or even thinking about it, to, show them that it is possible, that there are things you have to take into consideration and certain things you may have to do differently, but, just to show people that it is possible to have a disability and get your college degree, because many people may think it's not possible, but many students with disabilities graduate with their degrees every single year. So to start out with, I'm going to go over some tips and tricks I have for any student with a disability. Later on, we'll get into more specific types of disabilities, like physical disabilities, mental disabilities, things like visual impairment or deafness later on in the series. But for now, we're going to focus on disability in general. I'm going to start with some things that you should do before you attend college and before you've decided on a college. Things to do when you've decided on a college and are getting close to when you're starting classes, and things that you should do throughout your entire college career. So the first one I have for, starting with before you decide on a college is to tour the college before you decide. You have to make sure that it works for you and, with your disability, whatever the situation may be. Myself, I'm a wheelchair user, so I wanted a small campus that was easy to get around. I also lived on campus, so I had to take that into consideration. We'll have more videos on living on campus a little later. So you have to make sure it works. Like, you might not want to go to a big college that's in a big city and all the different classrooms are blocks away if you, are in a wheelchair, and it might take you a little bit longer to get there, or if you get lost easily, don't go to the big college. And other considerations, like I know I chose Stockton because there was a hospital right next door, and with my medical conditions, that made me a little bit more comfortable to live there, because I knew I could get necessary care if that situation had ever come up. To continue, when you're in the process of you've decided on a college and now you're getting closer to the school year, there's several things I would do. I would make sure you meet with disability services. One of the biggest things that I've noticed for college students with disabilities is that they don't get their accommodations. If you have a disability and you need accommodations, you got some in high school, you need to get them. Even if, you don't think they're going to be necessary, such as maybe you got extra time on tests before, and you're thinking, oh, that's not going to be necessary. Get it anyway, because it might be necessary in the future, and if you don't have it, you're not going to have it for the test that is going to be necessary for it, and you might have sacrificed, getting a better grade because you didn't want to get an accommodation. So you definitely need to meet with disability services, talk about your disability, talk about what you need in terms of classes and living on campus, and see what they can do for you. And if you're well, I can't find the disability services office for my college, what you do is you go to your college's website, and all of them should have a little search bar up in the corner, probably going to be the right hand corner, and you just type in disability services. So, and it'll probably be the first result is Office of Students with Disabilities or Disability Services, whatever the particular name is, and you call them or you go to the office and you get what you need to get. Also, it's important to note that now that you're in college, you're an adult, and this is going to be up to you, and it no longer includes your parents, so that you do have this responsibility. Going off of that, make sure you know your rights. In high school, if you had an IEP, they don't follow you to college, and you don't get those services anymore, but you're still protected under Section 504, which requires any entity, essentially, that gets government funding to provide people with disabilities reasonable accommodations, which includes colleges. So they are required to give you accommodations that are reasonable so that you can, achieve the most in your college career. Also, to continue with the accommodations, make sure you follow up with your accommodations. People that work in disability services, they're amazing usually, but they are human, they are not perfect, so you need to constantly be following up and making sure you're getting your accommodations. And if somebody, if there is a mistake made and you don't get the right accommodation, let's say you do get put into the wrong dorm situation that you wanted, correct them and be like, no, I asked for a single room, you gave me a double room with a roommate. Make sure you get that corrected, because don't just deal with it, because that will ultimately make your college experience better. And the whole thing about accommodations, they do make your experience better. They don't make it easier, but they make it more accessible to you. And it's better to get the accommodations, because I've seen so many people that they don't get them, and then they wind up failing out of school when they could have gone on to graduate and have their degree and have this, a certain job that they now don't have because they didn't get accommodations. So make sure you get them. Also, I want to talk a little bit about self-care. This is going to be throughout your college career and your entire life. College is very stressful. It's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of pressure put on you to do your best, and you should do your best. But ultimately, your health has to come first, and especially with a disability, if you have medical conditions that take, a little extra time, there's certain things you have to set aside time to do every day. You have to put that first, because if not, you're going to have a lot of problems, and the point is, no degree is worth sacrificing either your physical or your mental health. So make sure that you are, taking care of yourself and taking, your disability into consideration, and pacing yourself and taking an appropriate load of courses, and all that. My final point is going to be communication. For the rest of your college career and rest of your life, communication is going to be so important. You have to, make sure you're communicating with disability services. If an accommodation isn't working for you or you need a different type of accommodation, tell them and try to get it straightened out as soon as you notice that, this isn't working for me anymore. And make sure you're communicating with your professors. Make sure you're telling them that you're getting accommodations through disability services. And if you need a little bit extra help in your classes, go to your professors. A lot of them have office hours that they'll have listed on their syllabus. Make sure you take advantage of that and you're talking to your professors. Because, don't wait until you're basically failing out of the class to, bring up these issues when they could be solved before that even happens. And also communicating with your roommates if you are choosing to live on campus. Because you're all going to be living together, they don't know you, you don't know them, so you have to talk about hey, this is what I need, as far as how the dorm is set up, or certain scheduling things about showers, because there's probably only going to be one shower between maybe 4 or 5 of you. So communication is key, and that's about it that I want to talk about in this video, and I look forward to making this series, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.